Hello everyone and welcome back to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, and let's just continue where we left off. Which is in the sorry state of the colony, unfortunately. And I honestly don't really know what to do right now. Engineering is crammed with families and what belongings they've salvaged from the destroyed living quarters. You could spend time in your crowded temporary lodging in the classroom or help the adults try to fix things. Yeah, I mean, we should probably do that. And it will give us some stuff, although only 2 toughness though, I think. Or I guess they actually cancel each other out. But then we have minus in that as well, so I guess it will only be 2. But yeah. It's basically the only thing we can do, so yeah. Let's help rebuild. The first month of quiet passes, each day plodding one after the other. You still have trouble sleeping in the classroom barracks, but there's nowhere else to go. Every day you wake with the others and try to make the best of it. Grief and anger come in waves, not just for you, but for everyone. Some days are better than others. You're assigned to help rebuild the walls. The first part of the month is spent just dragging away the wreckage, sorting it into salvage or recycling. By the time that's done, crews disassembling parts of the stratospheric have delivered enough salvage that you can begin work patching up the walls. A sense of urgency permeates the crew. After everything, people need to feel safe. Diz is on the work crew with you, something he does begrudgingly. Walls didn't help the first time, he grumbles whenever anyone asks for his opinion. We should just tear them all down and live like the animals do. If someone planted a bunch of buildings on my land, I'd be pissed off too. I mean, it does feel kind of pointless if more of those big things are there. I'm gonna agree with this. So yeah, this is right. This is pointless. You don't go so far as to sabotage the walls, but you certainly don't contribute. You and Diz drag your feet, sulking anytime someone tells you to work harder. Surprisingly, you don't get in trouble. You're just kids after all. No one expects you to get back to work right away after a huge trauma like losing your home. And, losing my mom right before that, so yeah. Alright. Okay. Interesting. The sun's finally dawn again on your birthday. You wake early and climb to the top of engineering to watch the first sun's watery rays break the horizon as the wormhole recedes across the sky. Dawn should represent hope after a long period of darkness, but this light only reveals the full extent of the damage to the colony. You've been having trouble sleeping, like most people. It's hard to find rest crammed into the classroom with all the other kids and their families. And every time you close your eyes, you see... You shake your head to clear the memories. You pull your blanket more tightly around your shoulders, not your blanket, that one's gone, and stare out as the sun rises on the horizon, meager and sickly. Hey kiddo, you hear, then your dad comes and sits down beside you. I was looking for you. Nice view, huh? At least we got a rooftop patio out of the deal. He laughs a little at his own joke, then just sort of trails off with a sigh afterward. He puts his arm around your shoulders and you sit in silence for a while, watching the sunrise pick out all the broken glass littering the fields, glittering like a field of stars. Neither of you really know what to say. It's clear your dad feels like he has to give you a pep talk, but there's an oppressive nature to the silence that makes it feel impossible for either of you to start. Eventually, he just sighs and his shoulders slump. I know things seem pretty bad right now, he says, squinting into the sunrise. It sounds like it's taking all his effort to not cry. But it'll get better. It has to, right? You're not so sure. At least your mom wasn't here to see this, he mutters. That's the silver lining, I guess. You watch the sunrise together for a few more minutes. After a bit, your dad musters up a brave smile and pulls out a little box tied with a piece of gardening twine. Happy birthday, my little rutabaga, he says. You know what it is before you open it. Your old medallion, the one your dad made with the sun on it to represent Earth, was broken during the attack. In all the chaos, you didn't even notice, but your dad did and made you a new one. It's just like you remembered, a similar design with a wormhole this time to represent Vertumna. You thank him and squint out at the swirling wormhole still barely visible in the brightening sky. It's so massive and awe-inspiring this time of year, but it always seems to herald disaster. You're happy to watch it fade away into the daylight. Your dad slaps you on the back. What a birthday, huh? Here's hoping they all get better from here. You both head back downstairs to the wreckage of the canteen, where they've put up temporary roofing with whatever tarps and scraps could be found. The colony nanoprinters, the few that still run, have been working day and night to replace the necessities of life, but larger construction projects are going to take some time. Aunt Anne has coaxed the kitchen nanoprinters into making soy gruel and pressed bars. Life-sustaining, but depressing. You and the other colonists eat your breakfast in a stony silence as you mentally prepare for the day. Chief Administrator Seek has taken over as interim governor until the council can elect someone new. Last week they held a mass funeral for everyone who died. There's talk of turning the Stratospheric's destroyed front half into a memorial shrine after everything useful has been salvaged. There's still so much to do. Yeah, I can imagine so. Okay. Red cars get +1 physical challenge. In physical challenges. Nice. I guess we continue. Yep, let's keep rebuilding. You're assigned to help out in geoponics. The agriculturists have been hard at work trying to salvage what they can of the ruined fields and the destroyed greenhouses, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Your dad has taken over as chief cultivator. Succeeding your mom was already difficult for him, and now there's this. He's never been the kind of guy to hide from hard work, but he's been pretty distant lately. Cal's working in geoponics too, of course. He smiles when he sees you. Hey, Selene, there's lots of stuff to do. What do you want to work on? Probably repair the greenhouses? The geodesic domes, miraculous prefab modular structures your parents brought from Earth, are in shambles. Much of the glass and metal is beyond repair, destined for the recycler. You and Cal help clear away the debris, and when that's done, you help drape tarps over what's still standing so that the drifting spark snow doesn't pile up inside and affect the soil acidity. Anything that can't survive outside a climate-controlled greenhouse needs to be harvested and sent to the kitchens so that it can be preserved. Canning, jarring, dehydration, ancient techniques you've learned about in school but didn't think you'd have to put into practice so soon. Everyone is worried that this will be the final nail in the coffin for your food supply after the famine last year. You try not to think about it too hard, instead focusing on just doing what you can to help rebuild. we go. You're eating in the mess tents when you hear something rumbling. That's probably not a good thing. Your bowl and cutlery start rattling. People look around in alarm. Could it be another attack? So soon? You begin to hear shouting from outside. Someone runs into the tent. There's something falling from the sky, they shout. It's on fire! You join the crowd of people leaving your temporary structures to gather in the colony square. People are squinting up into the milky, quiet sunlight, pointing and gesturing wildly. It's impossible to miss the thing hurtling towards you from space, like a great big ball of fire coming straight for you. Is this it? Is this the end? After all you've been through, a meteor's gonna land in the middle of your already ruined colony and kill you all? I was thinking that it might be a ship. Mars grabs your shoulder. It's another ship, she exclaims. Look, look, it's another spaceship from Earth. Excitement ripples through the crowd. Could it be? You stare up, unbelieving, at the rapidly approaching ship. The flames of its entry into the atmosphere dissipate, but a thick column of greasy black smoke trails behind it. Soon you can hear the whistle of it ripping through the atmosphere at terminal velocity. That is not a controlled descent. It's an enormous ship coming at you way too fast. The ship's reverse thrusters fire, trying to slow it down so it doesn't smash into a billion pieces when it hits the planet. Everyone scatters to take cover. You crouch behind some rocks, throw your arms over your head, and squeeze your eyes shut. You hear the massive spaceship touch down in geoponics. Of course, plowing through the fields and grinding over what was left of the greenhouses. Yay! You're thrown to the ground from the force of the impact as shrapnel and small rocks zing past your head. It grinds along like some roaring monster, cutting a great scar through the colony and kicking up an enormous cloud of dust. Finally, the ship comes to a creaking, shuddering halt. You and the other colonists carefully crawl out of your hiding places, coughing and rubbing your eyes. The new ship is half buried and obscured by dust, but you can tell it's from Earth. You squint to make out stenciled letters, heliopause. A hatch opens in its side and silhouettes begin to emerge. Silhouettes with guns. Oh, great. Soldiers march out of the dust and quickly surround all of the remaining colonists. More soldiers form two parallel lines from the ship to the square, their guns in parade rest, and a lone figure strides down the center towards you. Greetings, fugitives of Earth, the man says, spreading his hands wide. A dismayed murmur ripples through the crowd. The adults exchange significant looks. Chief Engineer Instance tries to slip out of the crowd, but she's stopped by the line of soldiers. The man smiles. He has a broad, easygoing smile that doesn't match the threatening aura of the soldiers, nor the smoking ruin of the ship behind him. I am Commander Lum, he says proudly. As captain of the Heliopause, I have come to render aid and bring you to justice. I don't think that I would be able to do that. And what would I be able to do if I did? There's nothing for me to do. Sure, I'm smaller than Instance, but that feels like the best choice, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. Listen with the others. Zeke steps forward out of the crowd. You're not the commander of the Heliopause, they say firmly. Governor Uticate was expecting Commander Morikawa. Everyone is surprised. Uticate had been in communication with this ship? For how long? I am captain of the Heliopause, Lum repeats stubbornly, then adds, according to the chain of command, we sustained significant loss of personnel when we went through the wormhole. You can't help but notice many of the soldiers exchange looks this time. You wonder how many people had to die before Lum became commander. As the commanding officer, Lum continues, I declare this colony to be under our protection. As such, you are all now subject to the laws of Earth. Zeke bows. Now, they stammer, there's no need for dramatics. We're a diminished colony, as you see. Governor Utica died in the most recent attack, and Fluorescent passed away a few months ago. Even Technician Halitosis is gone. You see, we're quite leaderless. Wait, your mom? What would these Earth cops have wanted from your mom? You notice Chief Engineer Instance is being held with her arms behind her back. She glowers at Lum with unbridled hatred. They obviously know each other. Lum turns to the assembled colonists. Well, why don't we fix that, he declares. Say hello to your new governor. You hear a few gasps of shock and outrage, and Lum raises his hands placatingly. Let's not pretend you don't need our help, he says. And we could simply arrest you instead, but there's no need to demoralize your little colony further. Judging from the number of guns on display, you don't think you have a choice in this. No one knows how to react. A new governor from Earth? Nearly 100 new colonists, most of them trained soldiers? What does this mean for the colony? Well, it's now a military compound, basically. The crowd disperses slowly and the council members follow Lum back into the heliopause, presumably to talk about the future of the colony. You hope. Yeah, well, I hope they don't kill them all. You track down your friends. So, what do you think about these new people? Mars asks. Yeah, they're just going to boss us around. That's all they're here to do. Definitely do not agree with those. And not really that either. Yeah, they're just going to boss us around. Tangent nods. They don't live here. They don't know what it's like. And they're just going to swoop in and act like they're better than us? She hugs her arms around herself. Did you see what they were doing to Instance? The entire colony, now twice as many of you, sets to work on salvaging the wreckage of the heliopause, tearing it down and combining it with the stratospheric's remaining engine section. Spirits are high, though these new colonists from the heliopause aren't like any people you've ever met before. With their uniforms and weapons, they're more like an invading force than a rescue. You aren't sure what this means for the colony, or for your future. Nothing good, I'm sure. As the dust settles, you rebuild your colony around this new ship, the heliopause. The new arrivals, soldiers mainly, are aloof at first. Many see you as fugitives. Together, you build new walls, living quarters, greenhouses, and a massive bunkered garrison. The Stratos engineering wing is the only reminder of your old colony. The heliopause brought enough rations for another 5 years, as well as a rich seed bank and working hydroponics. Finally, an end to the slow starvation you've felt for years. They also have more guns and explosives than you've ever seen in your life. Even the ship has guns. A full stomach, a roof over your head, and the promise of safety convinces most stratocolonists to accept the Helios. In turn, the Helios decide that you criminals pose little threat. A grudging peace is brokered between the two groups. You decide they aren't so different, really. There are even Helio children born among the stars just like you. After a month of hard work, you and your dad move into your new quarters, and you have your own bedroom for the first time in your life. You place a picture of your mother on the shelves beside your bed. You step out onto your very own balcony to watch the new colony, its grounds bustling with so many strangers and strange new ideas. You feel something rising in your chest that you haven't felt in some time. Hope, excitement. What will the new day bring? You better get out there and find out. Sure. Rush outside to greet the day. Okay, well, let's see if there's anything else to collect. And also try to familiarize myself with the new place, or the new look of the place. There's engineering. Okay. I remember him from the demo. I definitely want to talk to you. The colony's full of new people. Everywhere you look, you see a stranger. It's disorienting after growing up in a closed spaceship. You never expected to meet any other humans that weren't made here on Vertumna. You bump straight into one of these new people while you're jogging through the colony. Oof. He laughs and holds you steady, brushing the imaginary dust off of you and giving you a wide-fanged smile. Hey, it's one of the kids from the Heliopause. You think his name is Rex? Hey, I'm Selene. Welcome to Vertumna. You stick out your hand and shake his, and he laughs. You notice he's wiggling his dog ears. They can really move independently. Pleased to meet you, he says. I'm Rex, and I love to shake a paw. I know a ton of tricks, he winks. Okay. Rex puts his hand against his cheek, looking cute and lost. Hey, since I'm new here, do you think you could help me find the construction yard? I thought I might apply for a job there. Honestly, going into this playthrough, I was thinking I was going to flirt with him, and there is the option. So, yes. For you, anything. His eyes widen as you wink suggestively and he grins, wiggling his ears and lolling his tongue out like a dog. So adorable. I might just take you up on that, he says. You tell him everything is a bit changed since the Heliopause landed, but you think the construction yard is still near command? He thanks you for the directions. Okay, well, I guess we should meet the other people. Hello. You've seen Nomi Nomi, what a name. You've seen Nomi Nomi around since the Heliopause landed. They're around your age and barely 1.5 meters tall, only coming up to your shoulder. You've never seen anyone dress as strangely as they do. Hi! Their voice is high-pitched and quick. I'm Nomi Nomi. It's short for nomination. They do a little twirl and bow. You introduce yourself and ask what they do for fun. Well, Nomi Nomi begins. Kind of a bit of everything. I like designing outfits and reading manga and learning about dinosaurs and cool xenofauna and robots and aliens and watching anime and playing Laser Fable, of course. Mostly lately I play Laser Fable. It's so fun to play it outside in the great big endless outdoors. Nomi Nomi dances in a circle, waving their arms and gesturing at your surroundings. Get Nomi Nomi to calm down. They take a deep breath. Yeah, sometimes I get carried away, they say with a grin. Rex says my superpower is boundless enthusiasm. Personally, I wish my superpower was being able to fly or go invisible. Or like being able to eat as much as I want and make the food go into somebody else's stomach, not mine. Okay, that's weird.
You have some really good food here on Vertumna, you know. I really like the. Oh, right.
Nomi Nomi pauses as you give them a look.
Deep breaths.
Challenge them to a game of Laser Fable?
You're on!
Nomi Nomi helps you install it on your Holopalm and explains the rules. Laser Fable is an augmented reality game where you bounce hologram lasers off real objects nearby. It's speed-based, so you're running around and bumping into each other, and there are extended house rules about when it's legal to block each other's lasers. Okay. There we go.
Right on, brother.
Nomi gives you a high five, then with a couple quick flicks on their gauntlet gives you a kudos for winning. They explain this is how they always play Laser Fable with the kids from Heliosphere.
Except they mostly don't want to play anymore. They say they're too old for it. They just want to be soldiers now. Except Rex. He's still cool.
Okay. Well, there was someone over here. Definitely a soldier. Oh. This new boy from the Heliosphere is a couple of years older than you. He's very handsome. Well, sure. And the missing arm gives him a heroic battle-scarred vibe. He stands tall and ready for action even though it's a normal boring day. The other recruits milling around the garrison give him a wide respectful berth. He sees you staring and gives you a curt nod. My name is Vase, Lieutenant Olivacious, he says, considering you with a glint of challenge in his eye. And you are? How do you introduce yourself? Oh, we kinda are into science. I mean, our biology is the highest one. Also into that, though. Let's say explorer. His expression doesn't change. Is that right? He says, with an air of a boy who's hard to impress. Nice to meet you, Selene. I hear it's been a rough couple of years for the colony. Lucky thing our heliopause came along just in time, he continues. Don't worry, we have some of the best soldiers, the very best. We'll keep the colony safe. Are you one of those best soldiers? We train as a team, but... Vase says, then clears his throat. Yes, I've won more than my share of zero-G judo matches and virtual riflery tournaments. Even competing against adults, he adds. Being planetside is totally different. You tell Vase that firing a virtual gun is nothing compared to running for your life through the jungle while a wild unisaur hunts you down. A unisaur, Vase says, leaning forward a bit, his eyebrows raised. Did you actually say something to interest him? That sounds like a fun sport. I'd like to try it sometime. Not really a sport, but okay, sure. Anyway, I think... Oh, no. Can talk to Dad. Okay. I was about to end the episode, but... Yeah, let's talk to Dad first. And there was geoponics. Even though it hurts, you find yourself wandering over to geoponics. It feels not good to be there in the place your mom loved and ultimately gave her life to, but not good either. It feels like when you have a bruise and you can't stop yourself from pushing on it because the pain reminds you the injury is real. Like your mom dying is this huge invisible wound, and poking at it forces you to feel something instead of just being numb. Your dad is taking time off of work. Your parents worked double and triple shifts during the last growing season, and now that it's over, it just feels so cruel. When people work hard, they should be able to look back on what they did and feel proud. Instead, there's just this huge gap where your mom should be. You find your dad sitting in your mom's personal garden. It's miraculously starting to grow again, despite being trampled flat during the last attack, and neglected during the famine before that. Still, various vertumnant flowers are starting to sprout, as well as hardier earth ones like dandelions. Your dad looks up and musters a smile. He pats the bench beside him. Talk to him. You false start a few times. It's almost impossible to think of something to say when there's this magnitude of grief between you. He gives you time. When it's obvious that you want to talk but don't know what to say, he takes your hand in his two larger ones. Did I ever tell you about how your mom and I started dating? You shake your head. You know they grew up together in the first colony on Earth, but nothing about their relationship. He smiles and looks at the garden as he remembers. I always thought she was too cool for me, he says quietly. Things were, well, people didn't like us much on Earth, so she was always kind of a bruiser, always ready to pop off, even when she was your age. She and Rhett were the same back then, he reminisces. I always thought they were going to end up together. Then your mom got injured when the first colony was attacked. I was working part-time in the clinic, and I guess that's when she realized I liked her. We had to apply to get on the stratospheric, he continues. We'd only been seeing each other a few weeks, so I was surprised when she said we should apply as a couple. They wanted all different kinds of family groups. Single people, couples who could have kids or couldn't, triads and quads. But we all had to be young, and there weren't many teenagers willing to commit to being a, mated pair. It upped our chances of being picked. He laughs and scrubs his face with his hands. She wanted to get off that planet more than anything. I didn't think she realized she'd fallen in love with me until we were already in space, he says wryly. Lucky for me, right? Your dad shakes his head fondly. There aren't many people like your mom, kiddo. You nod, surprised to feel a tear trickle down your cheek. There's so much you don't know about her and what she was like, more than just being your mom. It's really hitting you that she was a person before you knew her, and now you'll never know her like that. There's a past you'll never fully know, just like there's a future that she never will. Your dad puts an arm around your shoulders, and you sit like that for a long, long while. Okay, even more? Like every pollen season, your dad gets the shimmer. The pollen is bad this year, thick, heavy clouds of pink. Even your eyes are a little itchy, and your dad's not the only colonist spending the week in bed. You can hear other people sneezing as you walk through the quarters, bringing him hot trippet soup. Thanks, kiddo, your dad rasps. At least he's sitting up in bed now. Your mom never got sick, not ever, your dad reminisces. I'm not sure she missed a day of work from the day we landed until the day she... He stops and sighs. I miss your mom. I wish Instance would find a cure already, he grumbles, his hand shaking as he lifts his spoon. 3 years and all she can suggest is bed rest and fluids. What good is all her researching if it can't fix my headache? Your dad must be feeling really sick. He never complains about stuff. You check his temperature with your hollow palm, then dim the lights and bring him a cold pack for his forehead. He has a crust of glittery pink gunk around his lips, looking cracked and gross, so you wipe it away. The glitter is just everywhere on him, like it's coming right out of his pores. He looks iridescent in the murky light filtering through the pollen outside. Hey, do you mind opening the window a little for some fresh air? Smells like a sick person in here, he grumbles, pushing away his soup and rolling over in bed. I don't know if that's a good idea because there's pollen out there. So yeah, I will not open the window. The pollen might already be everywhere already, but there's no sense making it worse. You pretend to crack the window for him, and by the time you look over, he's asleep again. The worst of the pollen fog subsides in a few days, and your dad starts to look a little better. He gets back to work, which is good because there's a lot to do in order to rebuild the colony and get the Heliopause's hydroponics up and running. You're still sweeping glittering dust out of your quarters weeks later. That stuff gets everywhere. Yep, glitter does that. Anyway, time to end the episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!